request everybody who is outside to join us here, as we would like to start the session. May I request all the guests to please take their respective seats, as we would like to start the session. I know we all have been waiting for the most exciting part of this evening, and we are truly honored to have with us Shri Gaur Gopal Das ji. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. May I request you to kindly join us on the stage. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. May I also invite our Northern Region Chairman, Mr. Kanodia, to please also join us on the stage. Please be seated. Let me mention that the guests here are requested not to make any videos of the session. So we would expect that everybody would follow this and not make any videos, not post any videos. So we'll truly appreciate that. I would also like to acknowledge the support and the partnership for the event with the Ladies Study Group of ICC, operating from Delhi. Mrs. Chauhan is here with us along with her members. So without taking any time, I will now invite Mr. Kanodia for the welcome address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a privilege to welcome all of you on behalf of the Indian Chamber of Commerce. A few years ago, I heard a story that has stayed with me ever since. A busy executive once asked a monk, "How can I find peace when there's so much to do?" And the monk replied, "If you can't find peace in the middle of doing, you'll never find it in the middle of resting." That line struck me because it speaks to the paradox of our times. We are a generation that is doing more than ever, chasing dreams, scaling businesses, contributing to a nation on the rise. And yet, peace seems harder and harder to find. India today is in a defining decade. We're not just imagining Viksit Bharat in 2047, we're actively building it. The energy, ambition, and enterprise in this room are proof of that. For many of us, that same ambition also comes with exhaustion, physical and mental. Between board meetings and family dinners, between quarterly goals and long-term dreams, we often find ourselves asking, can we truly have both success and serenity? That's why tonight's conversation feels so timely and so necessary. Because our guest this evening is someone who doesn't just speak about success, he speaks about significance. He reminds us that achievement without alignment and progress without purpose eventually feels empty. He's an engineer who chose the path of introspection, a monk who speaks the language of modern life, and a teacher who turns philosophy into humor, clarity, and action. His talks have reached millions across the world, cutting across professions, faiths, and generations. He's addressed CEOs, students, scientists, soldiers, all with a simple life message. Life is not about what we have, but who we become. Please join me in warmly welcoming Gaur Gopal Das ji. Sir, it's an absolute honor to have you with us. And as India transforms and technology reshapes our lives, from artificial intelligence changing how we work to the geopolitics changing how we trade, there's one question at the heart of it all. How do we, as individuals and as a nation, stay centered? How do we balance our pursuit of prosperity with peace of mind and progress with purpose? That's what we hope to explore with you this evening. That's what we hope to explore with you this evening, starting with something that's perhaps the hardest question of all for all business leaders in this room. How do we find balance in a world that never slows down? Would you like to say a few words, sir, before we?
A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't look like you're very happy seeing me, guys. A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. You still don't sound very happy. A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we need to bring in some energy in the room before we even begin. Pump up the energy a bit, right? My God. The first question, as Mr. Kanodia asked me, is how do we even find balance in this mad world? How many of you find that you're juggling a bit too much in life? Brilliant. How many of your spouses have complained that you don't give enough time? Okay, thank you. How many of you missed your PTA meeting for your kids? Thank you. How many of you find yourself tossing and turning in bed, sometimes not able to fall asleep because of deadlines to meet? Thank you. How many of you sometimes get panic attacks because of stress that is just killing onto our minds? Thank you. And how many of you still go through workplace politics and business politics in your space? अच्छा, कई लोग हाथ नहीं उठा रहे, इसलिए हाथ नहीं उठा रहे क्योंकि बोलते जो पॉलिटिक्स करता है बगल में बैठा है. Just joking. Just joking. Now you can well imagine the kind of life we lead. I'm just giving you a few pointers of what we in the modern world are dealing with, right? And which is why I always say that balance is a myth. This whole concept of finding balance is a myth. I don't know why we are blowing it over the top, saying that we need to balance life. You want to achieve, you can't find balance. You want to find balance, you can't achieve. Period. Period. No more arguments, no more discussions, no more negotiations. It's period. Ask Mrs. Indira Nui if you've read her book, My Life in Full. Ask her if she was balanced in trying to achieve her pursuits. She will very honestly tell you she wasn't. She will very honestly tell you that she was living with heaps of guilt that she wasn't giving time to her girls when they needed her the most. Ladies and gentlemen, to find everything in life ideally is a myth. You address one thing, you're going to miss another. You address another thing, you're going to miss another. That's just the reality of life, which is exactly why we're not talking about living a life of balance. We're talking about living a life of awareness. Balance is a myth, awareness is not. When you're driving a car, how many of you like driving good cars? Okay, how many of you have a good car? Oh, lovely. Very honestly, people raise their hands and I love that. My God. हाँ, कितने लोगों ने दीवार पिक्चर देखी थी? दीवार? कितने लोगों को शशि कपूर और अमिताभ बच्चन के बीच का डायलॉग याद है? अमिताभ बच्चन शशि कपूर को, मेरे पास बंगला है, मेरे पास नौकर है, मेरे पास चाकर है, मेरे पास गाड़ी है, तेरे पास क्या है? शशि कपूर in his full senti swag, मेरे पास माँ है. Cut to 2025, guys. This dialogue is happening in Mumbai now. अमिताभ बच्चन सिंह, मेरे पास लैम्बोर्गिनी है, मेरे पास फरारी है, मेरे पास रोल्स रॉयस है, मेरे पास बेंटली है. तेरे पास क्या है शशि कपूर? मेरे पास पार्किंग स्पेस है. I'll tell you why. Because in Mumbai, parking space seems to be more expensive than a car. And believe me, you hand on my heart, whether you're driving a Bentley or you're driving a Suzuki, and I don't discriminate between the two, to be honest, in traffic places, you're at the same pace. I started this bloody Delhi traffic. I started off like about 45 to 50 minutes back to reach here for 6:45. And your traffic just keeps piling up. And you might be sitting in a Maybach. Who cares a damn? There's a rickshaw and a Maybach right next to each other. Now, when you drive a car, your car is driven on four wheels. One wheel out of alignment, one tire not in order is going to stop your journey, progressive journey towards your destination. So, what's good driving? Not finding ideal balance, but starting to be aware of what needs attention. Sometimes it's this wheel that needs attention, sometimes it's that wheel that needs attention, and so is our life. Sometimes your work might need massive attention compared to family. Sometimes your family might need massive attention compared to work. It's not a question of this or that, it's a question of what is the need of the hour. And if we do not pay attention to the need of the hour, that's a life out of balance. Ideal balance is not everything is going to go fit and fine. Balance means when there's a particular area of life that needs attention, am I willing to jump in and take the call, pay attention to it, and even if there be guilt of neglecting something else, live with that guilt. Because one thing is going to bring guilt in the other. I'm telling you, last over a month, I've been working on my third book. 14 to 18 hours of screen time. You know what that means? And at the end of the day, when you've written so creatively, then all you need to know is eat something good. I put 5.5 kilos in the last 1 month. Am I guilty about it? No. Am I guilty about adding 5.5 kilos to myself? No. Because I know that the process of creative writing will bring along with it associated complexities. My book is done. I sent the manuscript last Sunday. I'm already back on my diet. At that time, that was the need. I did it without guilt. Today, this is the need. I do it without guilt. Balance is about awareness, and balance is about chucking that bloody guilt out. Chucking that bloody guilt out that I'm not paying attention. बच्चों को नहीं दे पा रहा, नहीं कर पा रही, मैं तो नहीं हुआ, अरे मेरा वजन बढ़ गया, मेरा मेंटल हेल्थ खराब है, मुझे नींद नहीं आ रही, मेरे को टैक्स इतना भरना पड़ा, उसके साथ पॉलिटिक्स हो रहा है, उसके साथ जियो पॉलिटिक्स ऐसा हो रहा है, ट्रंप ने ऐसा किया, मोदी ने ऐसा किया, आईसीसी ने ऐसा किया. हराम कर दिया यार जीवन को. You know what I mean? And which is exactly why take this idea of ideal balance out of your minds today. And don't believe in anybody who tells you to find that ideal balance. But if somebody tells you live in awareness, believe them. If somebody tells you pay attention to what the need is, believe them. If somebody tells you chuck that guilt away, believe them. You know what, guys? Rather than always cursing yourselves, sometimes you need to pat your backs as well, that I did well today. In all the middle of all this mess, I stood strong, I showed up, and yes, there are a few bruises. Yes, there are a few wounds. Yes, there are a few bad memories, but we'll take care of it. So may I ask all if you do one simple thing today, please? Pat your own backs literally right now, you know. You're okay. You're fine. And it's all right to chuck that guilt off. It's not so much about balance. It's about stopping to live in guilt because of having paid attention to something that needed its attention. Look at me. Look at me. I have no guilt of the 5.5 kilos of flab that has come around me. हमारे देश में ना उत्तर प्रदेश ठीक ठाक होता है, दक्षिण भारत भी ठीक ठाक होता है, मध्य प्रदेश छत्तीसगढ़ फैल जाता है बस. मुझे मेरे मध्य प्रदेश और छत्तीसगढ़ का कोई गिल्ट नहीं है। 1.5-2 महीना दीजिए, वो भी चला जाएगा, क्योंकि अभी ये अटेंशन मांग रहा है, तभी वो अटेंशन मांग रहा था। Whatever it is that demands your attention, do it, ladies and gentlemen, because ideal balance is an absolute myth.
प्रभु जी, थैंक यू सो मच। इतने सरल शब्दों में आपने इतनी बड़ी बात जो कह दी, और मैं तो धन्य हूं कि मेरी बीवी भी ऑडियंस में है, तो उसने भी साथ साथ ही सुन लिया। I would like to move to something which in the modern day businesses and individuals are all grappling with: artificial intelligence. We're standing on the edge of big transformation. AI is promising efficiency, speed, precision, also brings about anxiety and job relevance, human connection, and ethical use. From your perspective, how can we use AI as a tool for elevation rather than alienation? How do we stay human in a world that is becoming increasingly automated?
Wow, that's an amazing question. Thank you, Mr. Kanodia. I remember a couple of years back, I was invited to speak at an event called Masters of the Century in Singapore. And there were about 1,000 odd people in the audience, not a single Indian. और जब एक भी भारतीय नहीं बैठा होता है ना, तब फिर आपको पता लगता है आपकी बैटिंग कैसे चल रही है। इंडियन ऑडियंस में तो एक मार दो तो उनको लगता है छक्का ही मारा है, बिकॉज अपने लोग हैं। यू से फ्यू हिंदी लाइन, यू क्रैक अ जोक, एवरीथिंग कनेक्ट्स। But when there's not a single Indian, you can't speak any Hindi. You have to kind of connect to them in their language, at their frequency. वो सही में मैच होती है. So I played the match. I got a 5-minute standing ovation. I loved it. बोला यहाँ मिला तो कोई मतलब बनता है, बाकी सब तो मिल ही जाएगा, लेकिन यहाँ कोई ताली बजाए ना, मान लिया, अच्छी बात. Good performance today. After my whole thing was over, I went backstage, and suddenly the crowd started shouting, Sophia, 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 Sophia. Now, when somebody wants you to do an encore and a repeat, they would have taken my name. कि उनको मुझे और सुनना है तो गौर गोपाल दास को बोलना चाहिए, सोफिया सोफिया चिल्ला रहे. So then I felt maybe Sophia is some celebrity kind of a person, because every speaker there was of a certain stature. That's why it was called the Masters of the Century. तो मुझे पीछे पता लगा, कोई किसी ने आके पूछा, Would you like to meet Sophia? तो मुझे लगा कि ये सोफिया वेरगारा जो एक्ट्रेस है, हॉलीवुड एक्ट्रेस है, मुझे लगा सोफिया वेरगारा होगी ये. मैंने बोला साधुओं को ऐसी सोफिया से मिलने कब मिलेगा? बोल रहा है चलो मिल लेते हैं. I said, let's go. So the guys took me to Sophia's room backstage. And there were two massive bouncers standing there. Their muscles were rippling out of their shirts, waiting for Sophia to come out. Everybody is shouting, Sophia, Sophia. So as we reached there, the bouncer said, sorry, sir, you can't go in. मैं बोला भाई मैं नहीं आया इधर, लेकर आए ये. Sorry, sir, you can't go in. Sophia is getting plugged in. I said, Sophia is getting plugged in. मतलब आजकल के जनरेशन की भाषा भी कुछ कुछ अलग अलग होती है. Somebody is getting zoned out. ऐसे कई कई भाषा बोलते हैं, मतलब plugged in ऐसा कुछ होगा, नया स्लैंग जेन अल्फा का. Sophia is getting plugged in. Sometimes I felt speakers get plugged into the vibe of the place, that kind of thing. 5 minutes later, they opened the doors and Sophia came out. Two guys were holding Sophia and bringing her out, because Sophia is the first artificial intelligence humanoid that was created on planet Earth. उसको उठा के लाना पड़ा, इसलिए बोल रहे थे सोफिया इज गेटिंग प्लग्ड इन. चार्ज कर रहे थे उसको. तभी मुझे पता लगा प्लग्ड इन वाज नॉट एन जेन अल्फा स्लैंग, इट वाज अ लिटरल प्लगिंग इन, एज इन गिविंग हर द पावर टू परफॉर्म ऑन स्टेज. आई सोफिया स्टेज पे बोलने के लिए, आंखें वाखें ऐसे ऐसे करके, laughing, smiling, moving her heads around like this. And guess what? They asked her the same question that Mr. Kanodia is asking me today. And I've never forgotten that answer. They asked her, do you think artificial intelligence is a threat to human potential? I wrote the story in my book, Energize Your Mind. It opens as the first chapter of the book. Do you think artificial intelligence is a threat to human potential? Sophia said something very interesting. She said, you human beings created me. I didn't spring out of nowhere. You human beings created me. And you human beings created me not to compete with you, but to complement all the efforts that you're putting in building of the world and to be a better place. So artificial intelligence, she said, is not meant to compete. She is meant to complement. Even that robot understood it. Even Sophia understood it. And sadly, a lot of leaders today don't understand it. एक रोबोट में भी प्रोग्राम करके भरा हुआ था कि मेरा पर्पस कंपीट करने के लिए नहीं है, कॉम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए आपके एंडेवर्स को. और आज के लीडर्स में 1.25% का कॉमन सेंस नहीं है. कॉमन सेंस नहीं है कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस कंपीट करने के लिए नहीं बनाया गया है, कॉम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए बनाया गया है. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ टास्क्स. यू गिव आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस दोस टास्क्स and it'll do it in incredible better ways, but there's a lot of tasks that artificial intelligence cannot do. There is no emotion. Yes, today with a lot of AI engines, because of a lot of data that they've studied, the engine has got so trained that they can act in very emotive ways too. One lady, I won't mention the AI engine, one lady fell in love with the AI engine. This is news in the newspaper. She has a love affair with the AI engine. You know why? Because human beings don't care of AI or real humans. Human beings care for empathy. Human beings care for love. Human beings care for being understood. Human beings care to be heard. And when human beings don't do that, we have to go to somebody who does that, even if there is no real emotion. इसलिए आप एक एआई इंजन से बात करो, वो आपको आपके पति पत्नी बच्चे बॉस से अच्छे से सुनता है और बाद में रिप्लाई भी एम्पैथी से देता है. यू कैन प्रोग्राम विच लैंग्वेज. आई कंप्लीटली अंडरस्टैंड यू. आई कंप्लीटली अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू गोइंग थ्रू. इट्स ऑल राइट. डोंट बी गिल्टी. इट्स ऑल राइट. इस तरह से बोलता है जो रियल लाइफ वाला इंसान नहीं बोलता है. तो आप एआई से क्यों डर रहे हैं? हम एआई से क्यों घबरा रहे हैं? हम ह्यूमन बीइंग्स पहले अच्छी तरह से ह्यूमन बीइंग्स क्यों नहीं निभा रहे अपनी भूमिका? If we as human beings play the role of being humans perfectly, do you think AI will ever be a threat? No, never. The issue is we human beings are less concerned about people and more concerned about profits. We human beings are less concerned about people and we are more concerned about productivity. We human beings are less concerned about people and we are more concerned about performance. If you want profits, if you want performance, if you want productivity, and you don't want people, AI will give you all of that. Bring rise in your profits because now you don't have to spend on people. Bring a rise in your productivity because you don't have to manage anybody's emotions. You're dealing with an AI engine. Will definitely bring a massive rise in performance because you don't have, my mental health is bad. I had a fight at home. My mom has cancer. I'm going through a divorce. My baby is being born, so I need a maternity leave. You don't have any of those issues, so you get high performance. But do you get innovation? Do you get creativity? And more than ever, do you get the inspirational passion and purpose that real people bring to the table? No, sir. And which is exactly why AI is never a threat. Only if human beings start being human beings. If we start living like human beings with empathy, with concern, with sensitivity, trust me, AI will be a massive tool, which it is already, to only complement our efforts and not compete with our efforts. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So my idea is basically to set the cat amongst the pigeons. Audience members, you know, this is supposed to be participative. So I'll ask one more question, and then I urge you all to please get involved with Prabhuji. Uh,
I'm making sense though.
oh, that was a perfect.
Thank you.
That was perfect, sir. Uh, yeah. So
Questions with AI?
yeah.
Just to check with it.
आपसे झूठ कैसे बोलूं?
No, no, just joking.
Yeah, but it, like you said, it's you know, you have to give smart prompts. So in my opening statements, I'd mentioned something about geopolitics and global turbulence. So I'll just persist on this line a little bit. We're living in this time of global uncertainty, conflicts, trade disruptions, polarization, global geopolitical shifts that affect markets overnight. Businesses are forced to make tough calls in this environment. As someone who teaches peace and purpose, how do you think business leaders can stay calm, ethical, and anchored when the world outside seems so unstable?
Wow. Oh, how many of you feel it's never been as bad as it is right now? How many of you feel the world is this turbulence, मतलब पागल जैसी turbulence? दुनिया में कभी नहीं हुई है ऐसे turbulence. The kind of polarization, that word in particular, religious, politics, everywhere. Never in the world before we have seen this level of polarization and turbulence than now. How many of you fly, guys? Okay. Okay, wonderful. And whenever you fly, I fly a lot. 2019, I took 280 flights. You know, that's mad, no? Insane. इतना fly किया कि वो cabin crew members भी पहचानने लगे मुझे. Once I came on a plane and the stewardess said to me, "Welcome on board, sir. We guarantee takeoff." I said, "Landing, madam?" She said, "You're a monk, right? Pray." Now, all of us are well aware that the takeoff of the flight is not in our control, and the landing of the flight is not in our control as well. And between the takeoff and the landing, there's a lot of turbulence that keeps coming. That turbulence at times is personal, sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's political, sometimes it's geopolitical, but there's always going to be turbulence. Zindagi hai na janab, जिंदगी है ना जनाब, तकलीफ तो होगी ही, वरना मरने के बाद ना चलने तक का एहसास नहीं होता. You know, there is going to be trouble. There is going to be turbulence. How many of you have problems in your life right now? Okay, and those of you who are not raising your hands, you expect me to believe you, right? That you have no problems in life. And how many of you would like a solution to your problems? Of course, everybody. Take your smartphone, go to your wallpaper settings, and set your home screen and lock screen wallpaper to the picture of your spouse if you're married. And if you're not married, to whoever you're in a relationship with. And whenever there is a serious problem, from geopolitics to politics to personal or anything, and you're very bothered by it, just pick it up and look at it like this and tell yourself, if I can handle this, I can handle any damn thing in my life. See, he's asking me serious questions. We need to lighten the mood a bit, guys. Now, jokes apart, wish problem solutions were that easy, and wish that we could just find solutions so easily. How many of you are good at maths in school? Okay, lovely. How many of you are terrible at maths in school? Lovely. How many of you didn't care a damn about maths in school? Lovely. A teacher came to a class of 7-year-olds and asked the 7-year-olds a question. A ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees a kilo. Guess what my age is? The guy said, ma'am, can you come back with the question, please? She said, a ship is sinking, a frog is croaking, and potatoes are 20 rupees a kilo. Guess what my age is? One boy put his hand up and said, 32, madam. She said, you're bang on, man. That's absolutely correct. But how did you get that answer correct? He said, well, it's simple. My sister's 16 years old and she's half mad. That's how 32. No, but look. Sorry. Otherwise, ship, frog, and potato. What is the connection in age? Now, me being an engineer, mathematics comes naturally. So for me, your answer is also going to be in equations, but I just thought I'd lighten the mood first. You're asking me too many grave questions, but they're all connected. Even my lightning is connected, by the way. My equation is this, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever challenge you have in life, currently we're talking about geopolitics, whatever challenge you have. In the equation of life, there's something called as a pi. And the value of a pi is 3.1418. In mathematics, pi is called a constant for a reason, because you can't change it. How many of us spend our mental bandwidth, our resources, our time, our energy, our conversations in talking about things we can do nothing about? Whether it's life, politics, family, business, whatever. Nothing about. What a sheer waste of time. What a sheer waste of your mental space to occupy it with things that you can bloody do nothing about. Nothing about. It's very easy to sit and talk about geopolitics. Can you change Trump's mind? If somebody can, come and meet me later. Yeah, as simple as that. Can you do anything about it? Can you do anything about it? In life, always ask yourself, what are the pies? Navigating through turbulence means firstly being aware of and acknowledging your pies. Because once you acknowledge your pies, you know that my mental space, time, energy, resources are not reserved for these. They're reserved for something else that deserves that attention. But when my mental space is wasted on this stuff, half of it is gone there, only half is left for something that matters, truly matters. And which is exactly why identify your pies. To try to change somebody or something that you know is absolutely beyond us, at least at the moment, is like hitting your head against a wall. The wall doesn't move. You hit your head. दीवार पे सर हिलाने से सर नहीं, दीवार नहीं हिलती, सर को चोट पहुंचती है. एक एक्सेप्शन है, एक एक्सेप्शन होता है जहां दीवार हिलने लगती है. मेरे पास एक आदमी आया, एक बंदा आया, बोलता है सर बताइए ना क्या ज्यादा पावरफुल है, 15 लीटर दूध की 200 ml नीट वोडका. मैं बोला इडियट, सवाल भी किससे पूछ रहा है? मैंने कहा 15 लीटर दूध. बोला पागल है सर आप, 15 लीटर दूध पीजिए, जाके लात मारिए दीवार को, हिलेगी दीवार. बोला 200 ml नीट वोडका पीजिए, जहां खड़े वहीं खड़े रहिए, दीवार अपने आप हिलने लगेगी. Sorry about that. Not advocating vodka. Now, jokes apart, my simple formula is this. Don't waste your precious time, energy, and mental space on walls that are immovable. The pies, the 3.1418s that you know are constants. But in that equation, there is an x. That x is called a variable. It's called a variable for a reason. Pi is called constant for a reason. Constant, you can do nothing about it. And that's called a variable because you can do everything about that x. So ask yourself this question. Today in this turbulent, polarized world, what's my pi and what's my x? What should I give my attention to and what should I not give my attention to? What should I get worked up with and what should I come to terms with and bring my peace in my head? Because जब turbulence होती है ना दोस्तों, turbulence तो होनी ही है, कोई choice नहीं है, हर क्षेत्र में, हर जीवन में, हर एक की life में. One of my friends is a commercial pilot. You know, जब अमेरिकन आदमी है ना, बहुत पी लेता है ना फ्लाइट पे, वो बोलता है I'm gonna go to sleep now. जब ब्रिटिश आदमी बहुत पी लेता है ना, I'm going to play a game. जब चाइनीज आदमी बहुत पी लेता है, I'm going to read a book. जब दिल्ली वाला पूरा आउट होता है ना, बोलता है पायलट भाई तू हट, आज प्लेन मैं चलाएगा, तेरा भाई चलाएगा. Sorry guys, I can't help myself to say this. Now, with all of this turbulence, like I said, one of my friends is a commercial pilot, and he flies the Mumbai-London sector, 9.5 hours straight flight. He asked me once, he said, how much time, sir, do you think does the plane actually remain on its designated air route to London? There's a route chalked out. The ATC has given you a route. He said, how much time do you think it sticks to its route? I said, 80%, maybe 90%. क्योंकि तभी तो पहुंच रहा है ना भाई लंदन में. He said, wrong. I said, so how much time of the entire flight duration does the flight actually stick to its designated air route? Between 30 to 35%. About 70% of the times, winds, turbulence, weather conditions are swinging the plane off the route. Sometimes by a few meters, sometimes by nautical miles. And yet, 9.5 hours down, I touched down in London. You know why? Because it's not a question of the plane going off track. It's a question of becoming an expert pilot to constantly bring it back on track. If you are able to align and bring your plane back on track, you will land where you're meant to land. Yes, there'll be the geopolitical scenario. Yes, there'll be polarization. Yes, there'll be markets up and down. Yes, there'll be tariff changes. Yes, there'll be this and yes, there'll be that. History has been replete with examples and case studies of similar incidences in the past, not as bad as this, but similar. And we bounced back. We navigated. We expertly came back and hit the right spot. Why do you think we can't now? COVID came, and we were thinking this is the most hopeless time of the entire human civilization. We thought we would never be able to come out of this. And look at how we are now. Bounced back, and how? Bounced back, and how? So trust in the human potential. Trust in moving from the pi to the x. Trust that if we learn the expertise of constantly aligning with the route, no matter what takes us off, sometimes it might take a little longer to come back. That's okay. But we are on the right track if we are coming back. And that's how we navigate through this VUCA world, sir. The VUCA world, which is so volatile. V stands for volatile. The VUCA world in which U stands for uncertainty. The VUCA world in which C stands for complexity. And the VUCA world in which A stands for ambiguity. In a world which is so volatile, so uncertain, so complex, and so ambiguous, the human potential is powerful. Believe in yourself. Learn the art of expert navigation. Become a master pilot of your life. And yes, my book writing threw my health and fitness off by 5.5 kilos on my Madhya Pradesh. But I'm already on my way back. It's not about going off track. It's about constantly coming back on.
So questions from the audience. I think we should start with a question which is not so serious.
Okay, let me take that. Swamiji, you look so happy, cheerful, joyful. So, what's the reason, and what percentage of it is because you didn't marry?
Is your wife here today? No?
No.
Recording भेजना भाई कोई उनको. हिम्मत देखो कैसे सवाल पूछ रहे. My God. Oh, one lady was once wearing a wedding ring on the wrong finger. गलत उंगली पे पहना है wedding ring. Her friend asked her, "Why are you wearing a wedding ring on the wrong finger?" She said, "Just to remind myself that I married the wrong guy." हमेशा देखती हूँ तो याद आता है किसी गड़बड़ आदमी से मेरी शादी हो गई. बताओ, लाइफ में ना परफेक्शन चीज नाम की चीज कोई होती नहीं है. एक लड़की गई पंडित जी के पास, बोलती है पंडित जी शादी करना चाहती हूँ. ऐसे लड़के को क्या कहते हैं जो हैंडसम हो, पैसे वाला हो, डायनेमिक हो, हार्ड वर्किंग हो, रोमांटिक हो, कभी फ्लर्ट नहीं करे, कभी चीट नहीं करे, मेरी सब बातें माने. ऐसे लड़के को क्या कहते हैं पंडित जी? पंडित जी ने कहा मन का वहम कहते हैं बेटा ऐसे लड़के को. इमेजिनेशन ऑफ द माइंड. A perfect partner, a perfect spouse, a perfect business, a perfect house, a perfect life is a hoax. Don't look for perfection. If you look for perfection, you'll be miserable. If you want to be happy, joyful, cheerful, bubbly in life, learn to accept imperfection and start finding beauty in imperfection. You know? उसमें खुशी ढूंढना सीखो. देखो मेरा मैं फिर से एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं. अभी क्या करूं मैं? 5.5 किलो आया है. देखो फिर भी मैं कैसे बोल रहा हूं. गिल्ट में नहीं बैठा. ए वजन बढ़ाया. क्यों मैं रो भाई? Finding beauty in imperfection is called wabi-sabi, the Japanese art of looking for beauty in imperfection. Because life will never be perfect. Neither your looks, nor your spouse, nor your children, nor your parents, nor your gurus, nor your country, nor the world. Everything is going to be far from perfect. And which is why finding beauty is about stopping to chase perfection and starting to look for beauty in imperfection. Yes, I put on 5.5 kilos, but look, I'm sitting and talking to all of you, such a wonderful, lovely audience. Yes, I don't look that great, but look at how many people love me. Yes, my house is not the most fancy house, but look at my kids. They love me. Oh, yeah, my car is not a Rolls Royce, but I don't have to drive in a bus. जितना परफेक्शन के पीछे दौड़ोगे ना दोस्तों, खुशी उतनी दूर दूर भागते जाएगी. जितना इम्परफेक्शन में खूबसूरती देखने लगोगे, पता लगेगा अरे खुशी तो यही थी, मैं कहां ढूंढ रहा था. तितलियों के पीछे क्यों भागते हो? जितने तितलियों के पीछे भागोगे तितलियां उड़ती जाएंगी. तितलियों के पीछे भागने की बजाय एक सुंदर बगीचा बनाइए, अच्छे अच्छे खुशबू के फूलों वाले. सारी तितलियां आके आपके बगीचे में बैठेगी. Don't chase happiness. Accept yourself fully. Happiness will chase you, right? And that is how you start living happily, joyfully, even with 5.5 kilos of flab on me. Does anybody so proudly talk about weight gain? Tell me. अरे है एक दोस्त कोई. Some people talk out of pride. I hope it's not out of shamelessness. I'm not saying it to you, sir. अरे वाह, prosperity, utkarsh, shubh labh. The point being, look at me. Look at me. I have an issue at the moment. I'm working on it. But I've learned how to embrace that imperfection rather than trying to be perfect. Will I be able to lose that 5.5 kilos in the next 2 months? Maybe, maybe not. Will I at least move towards touching down London, coming back on track constantly? 100% yes. And that's what life is all about, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
If you could give one
Do you
advice.
mind keeping the microphone a little closer so I can hear
Yeah.
better?
So my question is, if you could give one advice to someone who is struggling to forgive, what would it be?
If I would give one advice to someone who's struggling to forget, what would it be? Forgive or forget?
Forgive.
Forgive.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. If I would give one advice to someone to forgive, what would it be? Hi. Mr. Aditya Birla. You founded the Birla Group. Your chambers were founded by him too? Or Mr. G.D. Birla, his father? Mr. Aditya Birla, when he founded his company, one of his right-hand men, and I've confirmed this with KM sir, whom I very closely know, right? I've come to confirm the story with him. So it's not like I'm just shooting some story out of the blues. One of his right-hand men made a mistake. गलतियां सबसे होती है ना? रास्ता कितना ही साफ क्यों न हो, धूल तो हो ही जाती है. रास्ता कितना ही साफ क्यों ना हो, धूल तो हो ही जाती है. और इंसान कितना ही भला क्यों ना हो, भूल तो हो ही जाती है ना? Happens. Mistakes happen. He made a mistake. The problem was, back in the day, that mistake cost the company 10 crores. If a mistake costs a company 10 crores even today, not back then, it's not considered a small mistake. Any of you here have the mettle to say it's a small mistake today? No. Back then, it was even harder to say that. So there were rumors in the company that Mr. Birla is going to chuck him out. Mr. Birla called him to his office, sat him down across the table, took a piece of paper and pencil, and divided this piece of paper into two halves, drew a line, made two columns. On one side, he said points in favor of the guy. And on the other side were the mistakes. You can hear me, right? Oh, good, 5.5. On the other side, he wrote the mistakes. You know what happens? When somebody makes a mistake, when we feel cheated, when we feel slighted, when we feel cornered, when we feel mistreated, forgiveness is hard. You know why forgiveness is hard? Because we tend to forget all the good things that that individual did to us as well. Problems is like the erase button on a phone. They just instantly format our minds and take the attention away from everything else that that individual may have done. One mistake, one blunder, one issue doesn't define the character of an individual. If it's a repeated mistake, if it's a repeated blunder, if it's a repeated, you start questioning intentions. Here you can question actions, not intentions. Mr. Birla sat him down, made a list, wrote down all the points in favor of the man and mistakes on the other side. You know what? There was not enough paper to fill in the left side, which were the positives. On the mistakes bit, there was one. Now, Mr. Birla had a choice to keep the man based on the left side or chuck the man out based on the right side. Mr. Birla trusted the man's intentions for sure. If you don't have that trust, giving a chance is foolishness. He kept the man, pardoned that blunder, kept the man by focusing on all the good that that man had done. And the Birla Group is what it is today. Mr. KM also told me this. Because the blood, sweat, and tears of that man who was given a chance. Now, this is work. When it comes to personal life, it gets harder. when people abuse us, cheat us, slight us. Gets even tougher to deal with such issues, right? Someone's husband comes back from Thailand. You know what I mean. You know what happened. Should I forgive? Give another chance? Or say, bye bye, family court, next? What should be done? I'll tell you what, there's no right or wrong answer to it. We all have our individual journeys, and we all are going to be the ones who are going to bear the consequences of whichever choice we make. We have to see the consequences that hurt us lesser. This choice will bring a set of consequences, that choice will bring a set of consequences. We are the ones who have to see which choice, which consequences hurt us lesser. Now, mistakes happen. Jesus Christ said, the spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. Mistakes happen, slips happen. If a person is really good, a person deserves a chance. According to me, somebody may not say, somebody may say, no, I don't want to, that's fine too. But if we at all want to look at forgiving somebody, let's check for intention, let's check for character, let's check for the track record. And please, 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 if you're struggling with forgiving anybody in any space, personal or professional, follow Mr. Birla's approach of writing. Because mistakes format our hard disks inside. And until you take a piece of paper and start writing down needs effort to bring it back to mind and write down. And when you put it down like this on paper, you're able to see with clarity rather than the mucky mind where everything is scattered over and you don't even know what's going where. You know what I mean? But that's one thing. There's so many things that could be said, but that's one thing I would say. But yes, forgive you should, forget you shouldn't. This crappy advice of forgive and forget is the worst thing that the world has ever heard. Please forgive, but don't forget. Why don't forget? Because you cannot forget. Number one. So don't live in guilt that I'm not able to forget the trauma that I went through. Why shouldn't you forget? Because you will now start treading that space with caution. If you forget, there's no caution in any relationship. You'll be used, you'll become a doormat every single time you connect to somebody. Forgiving, you should do. Forgetting, please don't ever forget. And when you forgive, you're not forgiving so much for the other person. You're forgiving so that your mind becomes peaceful. उसने तो गलती कर दिया और वो गुलछर्रे उड़ा रहा है और मैं उसकी वजह से यहाँ परेशान. You deserve a better life. You deserve a peaceful mind. You deserve good night's sleep. And therefore, forgiveness is not an option. It is an inevitable reality of life so that we move on with the toxicity that we hold in our minds. Okay? Thank you.
Sir, I'm taking liberty of asking two questions.
We can begin with one.
Yeah, the first one is on the what we see in today's time is the fake. I mean, the originality or the real things are not there because the famous couplet कि मुस्कुराते बहुत हो तुम कभी खुश भी रहा करो. So we always carry the fakeness. So that is common, pervasive, and going. My second question is on the, since you are an author also, that's why I'm asking this question. There are so many good concepts in our own literature, Sthit Pragya, Titiksha, but still we look for the Western philosophy to know more and don't read our own rich Indian philosophy on that. So these are the two.
Hanji, तुम इतना जो मुस्कुरा रहे हो क्या गम है जिसको छिपा रहे हो. सर, जब लोग फेकनेस करते हैं ना, they pretend a lot to hide what is real. Why do we need makeups? I'm not against makeup, by the way. I'm not against makeup, don't get me wrong. But why do we need makeup? to hide the real. Very simple. Why does a depressed person or a person who has serious mental health issues constantly want to binge watch Netflix or eat so much? Because you don't want to deal with what's real. You hide behind something always. सच्चाई का मुकाबला करने की जब हिम्मत नहीं होती ना सर, तब इन फेक चीजों के पीछे छिपना पड़ता है. और आज दुनिया के पास वो हिम्मत नहीं बची है. अगर दुनिया के पास हिम्मत होती ना तो सच्चाई का डट के मुकाबला कर लेते. हाँ, लोनली है तो लोनली है, कर लेंगे ना. अरे बोर्डम इज गुड. बोर्डम इज वेरी गुड. वी शुड लर्न टू बी बोर्ड. द प्रॉब्लम इज वी आर नॉट, बिकॉज बोर्डम को हमको फेस नहीं करना ना कि मैं बोर हो रहा है, ओके रील देख लेती हूँ मैं थोड़ा. हाय हाय हाय, हाँ ये 1 मिलियन लाए, हाय कांट सिट विद माई सेल्फ. नेटफ्लिक्स देखना है, रील्स देखना है, लेट मी कॉल हिम, लेट मी गो फॉर अ पार्टी. भाई अपने आप को कब फेस करेंगे? जब ऐसे ही बोरियत में बैठ जाते हैं ना, जिंदगी आईना दिखाती है और आईना में झुर्रियां दिखती है. सब मेकअप उतर जाता है, हंसी का मेकअप उतर जाता है, पार्टी का मेकअप उतर जाता है, नेटफ्लिक्स का मेकअप उतर जाता है और असलियत दिखने लगती है. और लोगों को असलियत ही तो नहीं देखनी है ना दोस्त सर. और इसीलिए मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज बहुत ज्यादा है आज, क्योंकि लोग असलियत को हैंडल नहीं कर रहे हैं, सब फेक तरीके से कवर अप कर रहे हैं. एंड हाउ डज वन कम टू दैट रियलिटी? स्टार्ट फेसिंग रियलिटी. समटाइम्स टॉक्स लाइक दिस हेल्प. एक हद ट्रिगर मिल जाता है तो इंसान सोचता है चलो ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. कभी एक किताब पढ़ लेते हैं, एक रील देख लेते हैं, उसमें से इंस्पिरेशन मिल जाती है. लेकिन ना जिंदगी सबसे बड़ी टीचर है जी. कभी ऐसा पीटती है ना कि वो प्रिटेंस निकाल कर सच्चाई को हैंडल करना ही पड़ता है. और रही बात आपके सवाल की कि हम इंडियन फिलोसफी या वेस्टर्न फिलोसफी क्यों नहीं सीख रहे हैं, क्यों सीख रहे हैं? हमारे पास ही इतना कुछ है तो हमको दूसरों के पास जाने की क्या जरूरत है? I feel there is a great benefit in taking pride of who we are while being open to learn from what others have to tell us. The problem is not that we shouldn't learn from Western people. The problem is we don't take pride in what we have. इश्यू ये नहीं कि हम दूसरों से सीखे. मैं तो आपको कितने सारी किताबें मैं पढ़ता हूं जो विदेशी फिलोसफर्स की, बहुत अच्छे लिखते हैं सर, बहुत अच्छे कॉन्सेप्ट है सर, यूनिवर्सल प्रिंसिपल्स होती है. लेकिन मुझे नाज है मेरे देश की संस्कृति पर, नाज है इस देश के लिटरेचर्स पर, नाज है इस देश के संतों पर, नाज है इस देश की विचारधारा पर, नाज है कपड़े मैंने चॉइस से पहने, इतना बड़ा प्रोफेशनल होकर भी नाज है मुझे इस कपड़ों पर, नाज है. While I go around the world and talk and I learn from others and I participate and I engage with completely Western crowds, I'm proud to be an Indian. I'm proud of my Indian thought process. I'm proud of my Indian culture. I can put up such accents, sir, you can't even imagine. You know what I mean, right? None of these Gen Z, Gen Alpha guys can even try and come any closer. Trust me. If you ask me to put up a British accent, it's like saying, what the heck are you doing here? बोल के दिखाओ. ये सब बोल सकता हूं और फिर हिंदी में भी बोल सकता हूं सर. हम उन्हें कामयाबी में सुकून नजर आया तो वो दौड़ते गए. उन्हें कामयाबी में सुकून नजर आया तो वो दौड़ते गए. हमें सुकून में कामयाबी नजर आई तो हम ठहर गए. उन्हें कामयाबी में सुकून नजर आया तो वो दौड़ते गए. हमें सुकून में कामयाबी नजर आई तो हम ठहर गए. ख्वाहिशों के बोझ में बशर तू ये क्या क्या कर रहा है? इतना तो जीना भी नहीं जितना तू रोज मर रहा है ना? ये हिंदी है हमारे देश की. उर्दू कह लीजिए, लखनऊ की है उर्दू, अरबी नहीं है. हमारे देश की है उर्दू, इस देश की उपज है. क्या ये हिंदी उर्दू में डिबेट लगा रखा है? इस देश की उपज है. इस देश की उपज पे मैं गर्व नहीं करूं, नाज नहीं करूं तो किस पे करूं? So, sir, I don't have any problem with engaging with Western philosophies. I love it. The issue is in trying to be Western, we start forgetting and taking pride that I am Indian. In fine dining restaurants, in eating with chopsticks and forks and knives, when we start feeling shy that I can mix my dal chawal with hand and eat it with hand, that's when you forget that you are an Indian. Right? When I'm trying to ape the West on Diwali, also I want to wear a Western outfit, then I think I've stopped taking pride in being Indian. I'm not against or for any outfits. अरे occasion क्या मांग रहा है देखिए ना भाई. आप तो साल भर पहन ही रहे ना ये outfit. क्या problem है? कौन मना कर रहा है? Engage with the world. What's the problem? Occasion देखिए ना sir. कितनी पवित्रता मांग रहा है, कितनी हमारी संस्कृति को सम्मान करना मांग रहा है. This is the issue with us Indians, that we forget what we stand for. There's no problem learning for. अरे हम, if you don't learn, then you're narrow-minded. हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति open-minded संस्कृति है, हर एक से सीखती है. We learn from everybody. Chanakya Pandit said, I'm asking you a serious question, sir. It's very nasty. Sorry for that. It's very dirty and nasty. Excuse me, but Chanakya asked it, so I'm asking. आप सबसे पूछ रहा हूं, अगर आपके टॉयलेट के सेप्टिक टैंक में, यू नो व्हाट अ सेप्टिक टैंक इज, यक, अगर टॉयलेट के सेप्टिक टैंक में 5 किलो सोना पड़ा है, निकालेंगे सर? बोला नहीं नहीं सॉरी गंदा है, ये गंदा है, छी 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 छी, नहीं हाथ नहीं लगा सकते हम इधर. सर सोना तो सोना है, भारत से आया या विदेश से आया, कहीं से भी आए, और जो सोने की परख नहीं रखता ना, गलती कर रहा है बहुत बड़ी. तो आइए ना हम बाहर से भी सीखे, लेकिन पहले नाज से कहे, गर्व से कहे कि मैं भारतीय हूं, और मुझे मेरी भारतीय संस्कृति पर, मेरे भारतीय खाने पर, मेरे भारतीय विचारधारा पर, मेरे भारतीय उत्सवों पर, मेरे भारतीय फिलॉसफी पर बहुत गर्व है, बहुत नाज है ना?
Yeah, sure, sir. So, how can we use our Itihasa and Puranas to get solution to most of the problems in today's world
Wow,
and get happiness?
amazing. How can we use itihasas and puranas to get solutions to problems in the modern world and find happiness? Allow me to give reference from the Ramayana, if that's fine. Yeah. Now, in the Ramayana, you have a Kand, divisions are called Kands. Like you have Bal Kand, which is the childhood of Ramayana. There's the Ayodhya Kand, which is Ram in Ayodhya. There is the Aranya Kand, Ram in the forest. There is Kishkinda Kand, where Ram in search of Sita comes to Kishkinda, where Hanuman takes Ram to meet Sugriv, the monkey king. Straight after Kishkinda Kand comes the Sundar Kand, which is very popular in India. हनुमान जी के जो भी उपासक है वो सुंदरकांड तो गाते ही रहते. And after the Sundarkand comes what is called as in Valmiki Ramayana the Yuddha Kand, but in Tulsi Ramayana the Lanka Kand. So Kishkinda, Sundar, Lanka. है ना? Now look at all the three, and that's how you will see how wisdom is there if we learn to look at it. Kishkinda Kand. Hanuman brings Sugriv to meet Lord Ram, Sri Ram. Let's not even say Lord Ram and get into religion. Sri Ram. Brings him to meet Sri Ram. And when Sri Ram meets Sugriv, Lakshman asks him a question. Did you see anybody abducting a woman? In less than a jiffy's time, Sugriva says, yes, of course. I saw somebody take a woman who was screaming for help in an aerial chariot. In fact, she even dropped a few ornaments. And I've kept them as evidence if you would like to see them. And he brought those ornaments of Sita and showed them to Ram, and Ram instantly recognizes Sita. Lakshman asked $1,000 question to Sugriv. भाई तुमने देखा किया क्यों नहीं कुछ? जटायु ने तो देखा भी नहीं, केवल सुना और तुरंत छलांग लगाकर सीता को के रक्षण के लिए चला गया. आपने देखा किया क्यों नहीं कुछ? And therefore, what is Kishkinda Kand, sir? Thinking, and doing nothing about it. And then you have the Lanka Kand or Yuddha Kand, which is Ravan. Ravan tells all of his main ministers and soldiers, Ram is marching into Lanka with his army, monkey army. We need to do something about it. You know what they say? अरे राजन किस बात की डर रहे हैं आप? ये जो बंदर वंदर है ना, हमारा खाना है राजन, खा लेंगे हम. Vibhishan interrupted and said, my dear brother, अगर ये हमारा खाना है ना, 1 महीने पहले एक बंदर ने आके पूरी लंका जला डाली, and still Ravan didn't think. What is Lanka? Acting, 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 and no thinking. If Kishkinda is about thinking and not acting, Lanka is about acting and not thinking. इन दोनों के बीच में है सुंदरकांड. वाल्मीकि और तुलसीदास जी ने सोच के डाला है उसको उधर. Hanuman, when he's entering Lanka, he's not reckless, he's thoughtful. रात में जाऊं कि दिन में जाऊं? रात में दिन में जाऊंगा तो पकड़ा जाऊंगा, रात में जाना चाहिए. साइज इसी साइज में जाऊं कि छोटा बन के जाऊं? बड़ा जाऊंगा तो ये होगा, छोटा जाऊंगा तो ये होगा. सीता से कौन सी भाषा में बोलूं जब अशोक वाटिका में दिखी? संस्कृत में बोलूं, कौन सी भाषा में बोलूं? एंड ही डिसाइडेड अवधी में बोलता हूं तभी पता लगेगा कि मैं वहां से आया हूं, नहीं तो उसको लगेगा रावण का ही आदमी, क्योंकि लंका में संस्कृत बोलते थे सब. A lot of thinking. But the thinking didn't continue only as thinking. There was instant action. He thought, he concluded, he acted. Sugriv thought, did bloody nothing. Ravan did with no thinking behind it. So my question to all of you is, identify one thing in your life today which is in Kishkinda Kand. You've been thinking about it for a long time, last 1 year, but haven't done it. And write down 3 steps you will take to move towards Sundarkand by acting on it. Right? Acting on it. Identify one thing today which is in your Lanka Kand or Yuddha Kand, where you acted without thinking. And write down 3 steps. How the next time you won't be impulsively acting, and give it more thought before acting. ये हमारे इतिहास है, ये हमारा शास्त्र है, रामायण है. रामायण से रिलीजन निकाल दीजिए, रामायण को धर्म निरपेक्ष बना दीजिए. राम में श्रद्धा रखना भगवान मानकर ये वैयक्तिक है, वो पर्सनल है. It's a very personal thing. I may believe, someone might not believe, and that's fine. Not everybody has to accept Ram as God. It's okay. Not everybody has to accept Ram as Maryada Purushottam, the Ram Lala in Ayodhya. It's okay. Why should people not accept the wisdom of Ram? The wisdom that Valmiki Ramayana and Tulsidas ji have put in these beautiful literatures. And that's why we need people who are highly educated, thoughtful, excellent communicators, who can decode these messages for us in a language that is close to our frame of reference, not a frame of reference that was ancient. As soon as that happens to be, trust me, we will all take great pride in saying, ये हमारी किताब है, ये हमारे देश की धरोहर है. Does that make sense? Thank you. One last.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I was wondering why she asked why was it men dominated session.
Thank you, Gaur Gopal Das ji. That was wonderful, especially because you started with balance. I think as women, this is something we struggle with every day, trying to see, are we doing the right thing? Are we balancing? Are we making everybody happy and keeping ourselves happy? So that was very interesting. I'll ask something very simple. From being an electrical engineer to a motivational speaker, would you like to share something about your journey that can inspire us all?
My journey. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. When I was working at Hewlett Packard, just after I graduated out of college, I did a simple math equation. I told you that math engineer ke dimag mein maths aata rehta hai, hamesha kya kare. Another math one now. One teacher asked a boy, if college boy, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. Simple. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. Give me a practical example for this. The boy said, simple, madam. I love you and you love your daughter. अभी आगे मैं क्या बोलूं? आप ही समझ जाइए. A is equal to B, B is equal to C, so A is equal to C. Sorry. Engineers का दिमाग में mathematics बहुत चलता रहता है. When I was at HP, I made a simple calculation that if I were to be at my workplace working for an average 8 hours a day, we work more than that. I'm just saying average 8 hours a day at a workplace. And if I do a 5 days work week, I end up spending 40 hours at my workplace every week. And imagine I take a 2 weeks holiday every year, so I work for 50 weeks a year. That brings it to 2,000 hours per year at my workplace. Imagine I spend 45 years working, average. That brings it to 90,000 hours at my workplace. 90,000 hours of my life accounts to 10 years of my life. In fact, even on a daily basis, we spend more time at work than at home. And when we are at home also, we carry work back. How sad. हमारे वर्क प्लेस पे ज्यादा वक्त बीतता है, घर पे आते हैं उसमें से आधा टाइम खाने और सोने में ही जाता है. रियल टाइम with family and with ourselves is much, right? So I asked myself this question. 90,000 hours of my life are going at my workplace. पैसा तो कमाना ही है. रियल लाइफ है, रियल नीड्स है, एम्बिशन है, पोटेंशियल है, तो क्यों नहीं कमाएंगे? जरूर कमाएंगे. But is work only meant to earn? Or is work also meant to fulfill? Because if 90,000 hours are going at my workplace, I better make sure that those 90,000 hours also give me fulfillment, not just money. And that's when I thought to myself, do I see myself do this for 90,000 hours? The answer was a loud, clear no. I said, I'm not doing this then. Not many will have the courage to ask this question to themselves. And even if they ask and they get the answer, not many will have the courage to make that shift. Because there are massive risks involved. And more than risks, there are real life liabilities. In real life, there's a lot of liabilities that we have, and people can't just walk off one day and say, I want to be a monk. Right? In this journey, mine was a complete change. Moved 180 degrees opposite, from a white-collared HP job to a monk's attire like this. I was like Sachin Tendulkar. Quit because this was what I felt I should be doing. 95% of the people are going to be like Rahul Dravid. Will wait till everything settles, wait till the college is over, wait till won't drop out to follow their passion. This morning I was on the plane, I met a lady, she was the pan-India HR head for one of the biggest banks, global banks, not Indian bank. And I usually don't talk because that's my me time. Once I'm down, everybody's talking to me or I'm talking to someone. But when somebody starts talking to me, I definitely speak to them. So she asked me a question, same question as yours. And I said, Madam, nobody has to do what I did. But everybody needs to bring some fulfillment at their work. My journey started to find fulfillment in my work. It was a drastic move. Nobody needs to make that drastic move. But we definitely need to bring fulfillment at our work. And you know how that fulfillment comes, madam? There's a professor at Yale University whose name is Miss Amy Wrzeniewski. She and a team of 3 other professors, Sir Western philosophy. She and 3 professors did research studying hospital janitors. Now, hospital janitor's job is considered low in status, very repetitive, monotonous, cleaning, mopping. So they went to hospitals, divided groups of janitors and studied them by asking them questions. Some janitors said, when they asked, what do you do? They said, oh, well, we mop the floor, we clean the windows, we remove the rubbish and the trash. And some other janitors said, we have patients here. When we keep the rooms and the hospital clean, it helps their healing faster. Some of them said, doctors cure, Nurses heal and we assist them in healing and curing. You know what these janitors were doing? Some of them were bringing flowers and arranging them in vases. Some of them were shifting paintings from one place to the other because the patient couldn't see the painting, just to uplift the spirit. Some of them were deliberately making sure that the cleaning times were such when the painting patient was resting, the cleaning didn't make noise, so they would reschedule their cleaning. Then Professor Wrejenewski studied both the groups of janitors and found out where the satisfaction levels were higher, where the fulfillment levels were higher. The janitors who considered their job as a routine task and just did that to earn money had very low levels of satisfaction. The other janitors were getting similar or more amount of money. They were also making money. But they had purpose. Behind the what, they had a why. And that's what led to what Professor Wrejenewski said, a term called job crafting, where you craft purpose in. In your work, purpose doesn't happen. You have to craft it in by asking the why and by deliberately maneuvering your tasks in a way that it makes a difference. And which is what I told this lady today. Such drastic decisions of moving out, not recommended. Nobody should do. If somebody wants to, I'm ready to take you in. Come in. We'll give you a set of clothes. Join me. But if most of us can't do it, and we shouldn't do it, we can definitely look at this concept of job crafting. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, me and you have the same need. Just in different ways we do it. All of our needs is to make our work fulfilling too, because it's a whole 90,000 hours of our life. Some do it by making drastic decisions, but most of us can do it by job crafting and bringing purpose into the work that we do. So that's been my journey, and that can be your journey too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think your message on awareness, on our roots, and also what you just said about fulfillment. Thank you for these messages. I think hearing these things from someone like yourself, it's very special. You've also reminded us that in the age of AI and ambition, the most powerful force of transformation lies inside the human spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me once again for expressing our sincere gratitude to Prabhuji. Thank you, sir.
So before we close, a small token from our side as a token of our respect to you. And I think every word of yours has really touched all of us. And really, thank you for your presence.